Wind up, Jason! Your work isn't finished!
This is a one-time gig. When it's done, we're done.
Let's dance, asshole!
So I wanted to end off the week by talking about Monster House, and Monster House was another film that a lot of you guys requested to me to talk about on the channel, and I'm actually super excited to get into this because Monster House was definitely a movie I spent a lot of time with. I mean, it wasn't just me watching it. I used to watch this movie with family every single time. I don't know what it was about the film. I don't know if it was just weird, it was unique, or whatever the case may be. It was just a film that really stuck out. Maybe it's just that part of me that like really likes horror, that I always wanted to go back and just watch this movie just because of how weird it was. Maybe it was that reason. I don't really know. But I am going to be giving my overall thoughts on Monster House within this video itself, so I really do hope you guys enjoy what I have to say when it comes to my perspective of this film. And of course, if you guys have any thoughts of your own when it comes to Monster House that you guys want to share with me, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, because I always look forward to hearing your thoughts when it comes to the different things that I talk about on my channel. And it's always fun to start a little fun conversation in the comments. So as I said, be sure to let me know all your thoughts down below. So Monster House brilliantly captures the universal experience of childhood curiosity mixed with fear, especially when it comes to the creepy house in the neighborhood, because I remember how as kids we'd always had that one house that fell off limits. We dared each other to get closer or peek inside, even though our imaginations ran wild with what might be lurking behind those doors. And this movie takes that feeling and blows it up, making the house itself a living, breathing entity, and it plays on our natural fear of the unknown, and that makes the tension hit home. And the way the house is brought to life in the film is truly creative. It becomes this monstrous presence, something that's both familiar and terrifying. And I love how Monster House doesn't need ghosts or zombies to scare us, it's the house itself as the threat. And this made me reflect on how as a child, even the most mundane things could feel like they were hiding something sinister. The house creaks, groans, and sudden movements bring me back to that same childhood unease where everyday objects could seem threatening after dark. And what really strikes me though is how the kids in the movie are the only ones who notice something's wrong. It's such a relatable experience knowing something feels off, but having the adults around you dismiss your concerns. And that frustration resonated with me because in so many ways, Monster House captures that feeling of being underestimated as a kid, of seeing the world differently and feeling powerless when no one else takes you seriously. And Monster House stands out for the way it expertly blends humor and horror, keeping the audience engaged without leaning too far in either direction. It's hard to pull off, but the film manages to have moments of real tension followed out by humorous scenes, which makes the scares hit even harder. Because from my perspective, this balance is what gives the movie its charm. It's not afraid to scare kids, but it never forgets to be fun. Take Chowder, for example. His goofy, awkward personality is a great contrast to DJ's more serious nature. His comic relief moments are perfectly timed to break the tension, but they don't undercut the scary parts. Instead, they give you just enough time to relax before throwing you back into the thick of it. That ebb and flow between laughter and fear keeps you on your toes, which I think is a huge reason why the movie works so well for both younger and older audiences. But beyond the laugh, the horror is real enough to make an impact, because when the house begins to show its true form, snapping up anyone who gets too close, you realize the stakes are high. That's what's so effective. The movie doesn't go overboard with the horror, but it makes sure you feel the danger, especially when you're least expecting it. And it's that mix that gives Monster House its unique identity and keeps you engaged from start to finish. And Monster House uses motion capture animation, which gives the characters in the world a slightly eerie, uncanny feel. Because I remember thinking how different it felt from typical animated movies. There's something about the way the characters move that adds the creepiness of the story. For a movie about a house that comes to life, this animation style is perfect because it feels just enough to be unsettling without becoming too weird for a younger audience. And the house itself is where the animation truly shines. The way it moves, its creaking wooden boards acting like limbs, and its windows snapping like jaws turns it to a character in its own right. The house isn't just a backdrop or a setting, it's alive, and the animation brings that concept to life in such a visceral way. This makes the house feel more menacing, and it gives it a personality that wouldn't have been possible without traditional animation techniques. That said, the animation also allows for some of the more lighthearted moments to land too. Despite the house's terrifying movements, the way the kids interact feels natural and fluid, which helps ground the story. It's a rare blend of unsettling animation that enhances the scares while still maintaining enough charm to keep the movie fun. That balance is crucial, and I think it's one of the reasons Monster House stands out visually. And at the heart of Monster House is a surprisingly emotional story about grief and letting go. The backstory of Constance and how her anger and sadness turns the house into a monster adds a layer of depth to the film, and that's something I didn't expect when I first watched it. And looking at it now, it's a commentary on how grief, when left unresolved, can manifest in destructive ways. The house itself is a symbol of that unresolved pain, and it was striking to see such a heavy theme tackled in what's primarily seen as a kids' movie. And this theme hits hard in the final act when the kids confront the house and its tragic history. It's no longer just about destroying a haunted house, it's about helping someone or something let go of the past. And I was impressed by how the film handled this, because showing that even monsters can come from a place of sadness and loneliness, it made me think about how we often hold on to our pain, and if we don't face it, it can consume us just like Constance's anger consumed her. That emotional weight is what sets Monster House apart from other animated horror films around its time. It's more than just spooky fun, it's a story about how we cope with loss and the importance of moving forward. It gives a movie a quality that I think resonates with both kids and adults. Making it more than just a Halloween movie, it's a reminder that there's often more to fear than what's on the surface. And even though Monster House came out in 2006, it still feels fresh every time I watch it. Part of that is the way it taps into the classic adventure stories I grew up loving. There's something nostalgic about kids teaming up to face a scary, unknown force, and that sense of adventure is a big part of why the movie still works today. It reminds me of the excitement I felt watching movies like The Goonies or E.T. as a kid, where the stakes were high, but the fun was never lost. And the adventure aspect taps into the feeling of being on the edge of childhood and adolescence, where you're starting to understand that the world is more complicated than once you thought. DJ, Chowder, and Jenny are right at the age where they're figuring out how to face their fears, both real and metaphorical, and that's something I think resonates with anyone watching because it's such a universal experience. And in the end, Monster House captures that spirit of discovery and adventure while mixing in just enough horror to keep it thrilling. It's the kind of movie that makes you nostalgic for your own childhood fears while also keeping you on the edge of your seat. And that's what makes it so enjoyable, no matter how old you are or how many times you've seen it. And looking back at Monster House, I'm reminded of how much it offers beyond just a spooky tale. It's a film that combines genuine scares with humor, and it has something to say about grief, loss, and the journey of growing up. It stands the test of time because it taps into the fear we've all had as kids, while still being clever and heartfelt enough to resonate with adults. Whether you're watching it for the first time or revisiting it just like I did, there's always something new to appreciate. Monster House remains one of those animated films that gets better with age and leaves a lasting impression every single time. So other than that, that is all I have to say about Monster House in this video. It felt really fun to go back in time and talk about this movie within this video because it really reminded me of all the different kinds of things that I went through as a kid. So seeing DJ, Chowder, and Jenny go through the exact same thing as I did, it really hit home to me. So if you guys have any thoughts of your own when it comes to Monster House that you guys want to share with me, if you guys have any favorite moments, any favorite characters, or just anything overall about Monster House that you guys want to say, be sure to let me know down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my Facebook page, my Twitter, my Instagram, and my TikTok. All of that is located in the description below. Be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I post a video on the channel. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. as always, peace out.